Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Nearly said the wrong show. Here on Studio Live today, my name is Pete, and this is the show where we talk about life, the universe, music, and everything. So if you've got a question about anything at all, you can do exactly what our man Gary Hubbs has done and throw it right here in the chat. So welcome to folks who are here live on YouTube, Facebook. I think we're going out to Twitch. I tried to go to as many places as I could. If you do have a question, the best way to do it is to do this. Pop question in front of it and we'll jump straight in and start answering any questions you may have. Gary's got a question. Am I better off buying a powered USB hub or a new battery for my iPhone? Is your powered USB video still up to date? So yes, and it's a good question, Gary. I'll probably need some follow-up questions for you here around exactly what you're going to be using it for. If your phone battery is dying on the regular and you're finding that you're not actually getting enough life out of it to do the recording that you want to do, then a powered USB hub can actually help you out. There's kind of two ways to approach this. You can go with the Lightning to USB 3 and then just plug that directly into a a power outlet, and that's going to actually power up your device. So if we go Lightning to USB 3 and my name, like so, this one here, we'll just share my screen, share it on over. This video. So yeah, you can check this one out. Probably the Apple versus the non-Apple one, just because the cheaper ones don't actually work that well. But you can see there, these adapters, they have a USB port there and a Lightning port as well. So you plug that in, you plug your USB device in that you're recording with, and then you plug in the Lightning adapter there. The power or the benefit of a powered USB hub, see what I did there? The power of the power. If we go USB hub, this one here, the 10 DAC powered USB hub. It's the one that I'm using. I'm going through it right now for my stuff. And you can't see it on there, but if we come into this video...
A powered USB hub can be one...
Yes, Mr. Man, very good. So that's what it looks like there. But if we come in here and go to the link for this one, if we jump over here to Amazon, this is where I get to test out my links. There it is. What you've noticed here is that you can actually plug in 4 different USB devices and then hook this end up to your Lightning to USB adapter. It means you can have 4 things going at once. What Gary's asking about here that's also cool is it has this at the end, a dedicated charging port, so you can actually charge it up. So for instance, I have my phone sitting down here at the moment. You can't quite see it in shot, but there's a wireless. Okay, now you can see it. As I drop it in my coffee, there's a wireless. What are they called? Charging pads, a Qi charger that's sitting down here, and this is actually plugged in to the charging port of the 10 DAC powered USB hub. So with this plugged in, which I'll actually replug it now, it means that when my phone's just sitting there and I'm using it, I can just power that up. But you could also plug that directly in without a wireless charger, just with a regular charger, and it would do the same thing. So yeah, hopefully that does help you out. And yes, this video here, what I'd probably suggest is if you go, the video that's got most of the details is if you go Pete John's multiple USB devices, go to this one, because this one shows you how to use everything, all the different options you have with your Lightning to USB adapter, your powered hub, and everything in between. So thank you, Gary, for kicking us off. And hello to other folks we've got here. We've got Scrimboy, we've got Desolate Morning, Kim's here, lurking while working, which does rhyme, Kim. Well done. G'day to you, Mark. Hello to Andy Goldsby. Yeah, here while I clean up the kitchen. You can multitask. I totally allow you to multitask while watching Studio Live today. It's a good thing to do. I was talking yesterday on Clubhouse. Maybe we'll talk about Clubhouse a bit later. Talking on Clubhouse yesterday about positive procrastination. And put your hand up and tell me if you do this. Sometimes when I've got a big project that I'm doing, my house is never cleaner. So I wonder if anyone else does this, where you use procrastination. I used to procrastinate by playing video games or by like eating cake or doing other things that were bad for me. Now I've realized if I harness that energy into positive procrastination and clean the studio or go and do the dishes or put the clothes away or do something, basically anything but the thing I'm avoiding, then at least I'm getting something done, right? Who's with me? Yes, the answer is 42 to life, the universe, and everything. And Gary looked for a form first. Yeah, so if you're confused, we normally do the QA show, which does have its own form. This one's a little bit free-flowing, so not using the form today. I'm just going to jump through the chat and answer questions like this one from Rob. Excuse me, I need a coffee. While I put that up there, you can have a read. Rob says, Pete, I sent you a question on another video referring to using a Yamaha mixer to record into GB. I didn't understand your reply. Well, what I might need, Rob, is I might need you to just reiterate the full question because I can't actually remember exactly what the question was. I think you're asking about recording using a mixer into GarageBand, which you can do, and maybe I'll go through that. So if you want to just give the detail of the question again here, I know, sorry to make you repeat yourself, then I'll answer it and hopefully give you sometimes more context you can give in a video form than I can in just text form. So we'll give that a try if you wanted to re-ask your question. We'll come on down. I think I saw one here from Tom. Tom has a question. Are there any alternatives for virtual guitars to the mostly terrible GB iOS virtual guitar sounds? Short answer is no, but we were actually, again, I was discussing this because I was chatting with Jade Star and others yesterday, and I actually said this because there's a plethora of new instrument sounds coming out at the moment. There's these Swarm apps, so they've released a whole bunch of brass sounds. They've got woodwind coming in the works, and then they're going to do some strings. And these are all really high-end instrument sounds. And what I was saying at the time is, why can't we get a guitar? Because what you may realize is that there's a lot of, maybe not good is probably the wrong word, a lot of satisfying or at least semi-good guitar sims that you can actually get for VST and AU plugins. So, for instance, if I do a Creative Source, which is my buddy Mike's channel, and I do VST guitar, he has done a whole series of videos on using some of these very cool VST guitars. So Ample Sound, for instance, makes some really cool VST instruments and some really cool VST guitars that have a whole lot of options that give you really realistic guitar sounds. Now, that's not really going to help you on iOS, though, is it? Because they don't, for whatever reason, they don't make these for iOS. I don't know whether they don't think that iOS people are interested or whether they think we've got our own guitars and you don't want a virtual guitar sound. What Jade did suggest yesterday was an app called, is it Strummer? Jade, you're here. Help me out here. I think is it not MIDI Strummer? Well, it might be called MIDI Strummer. I'm just going to load up the iPad here and we'll have a quick search. Because I haven't tried this stuff, but I know that Jade has. Maybe I just need to search for Jade's video. We'll type in Strummer. No, I can't find it. We'll cheat again, and we'll do this. We'll go Jade Star and Strummer. Yes, welcome to Searching with Pete. How to Google stuff that Jade already did. Strummer FX MIDI guitar. So that might be an option. Let's just App Store it. App Store Strummer FX and see exactly what this does. There's the MIDI Strummer. Oh look, Doug's done a review of it as well. Looks like it's $6. Wants me to open the App Store. Fair enough. Thank you, Mac. So $12.99. All right, okay. So it's more here in Australia because we're Australia, but that's what it looks like, and it does look like it is a guitar app. So what I would do, Tom, is go and watch Jade's review, and I'm really keen to do something like this. So I may actually review this myself and take a bit of a look at it because, it does look pretty darn cool, and it does seem to have a lot of cool options. But I'll have to rewatch Jade's video there where she looked at the MIDI Strummer. I've lost it now, but you saw it before. So that's probably one option. I really just think, though, that we need someone like Ample Sound to make a guitar AUV3 that is just a full guitar simulator, but they don't seem to be out there. If anyone else has got any other ideas, then do chuck them right here in the chat. It's Dr. Zorders. I haven't seen Dr. Zorders. I haven't seen you in the chat for a while, my friend. Welcome. Thanks for being here. We'll scroll on down. Binny Sandhu, hola to you, my friend. And thank you to Binny if you've been watching the recent drum videos I'm doing. And I'm working on some more at the moment because Binny just keeps coming up with really cool ideas. But Binny was the one who discovered the way that we can do the drummer to drums. I'll just search for it to show you the one we're talking about. This one here. So you can actually send your drummer tracks into green MIDI drum tracks, which I think is pretty darn cool. So Binny was the one who came up with the little hack workaround idea for that, which I don't know how you came up with it, Binny. You'll have to tell us at some stage. Apple charge $65 Canadian to replace your battery, Gary. There you go. And see, Jade's been suggesting this for me too, that I should probably do that for my my aging iPhone 6Ss. Although this one here, as you can see from the screen down there, I don't know. That's probably going to be more costly. So this one's battery is really bad. It's a really nice phone. It's a 6S Plus. It's really nice, but yeah, you can see it's got that crack in the bottom corner of the screen, which yeah, it's probably going to cost more to definitely more to replace than to pick up some sort of refurbished iPhone if I need another one. But I think I have about 3. Excuse me. Question from Bear. Why does my iPad Air 3 touchscreen freeze so often? Why does it freeze so often? That's a good question. There are a number of reasons why this happens. Let's jump over to my iPad screen and we'll take a look. Oh, that's not it. That's MIDI Strummer. Where are you, reflector? Boom. Oh, you're not reflecting anything. Oh, I'm having a few technical difficulties, but that's okay. We roll with the punches around here. We will get back. Come on. There we go. All right. So if by freeze, maybe if you can just clarify what freezing is, does that mean you're just doing something and it won't move? It'll just sort of freeze up, or you'll be tapping something and then it'll like go, and then it'll just like all go through. That can happen. And to be honest, that was starting to happen on my iPad Air 2. And usually when it's happening, there's a couple of things that you can do to kind of rectify this. If you've got, so you can see here, I've only got 3 apps open at the moment. I've only got the App Store here, I've got the Audio Share app, and I've got GarageBand. So if you've got a bunch of apps open, they're all running in the background, that can actually cause a problem. The other thing you can do is go into your background app settings in here. So if we go here and we go, I think if we search background, no, it's not. It's not what I think. There is a, if someone can help me in the chat here, where the background app settings are, you can basically go into all of your apps, background app refresh, there it is. So background app refresh. So you see here, I'm not following my own advice because I'm allowing all these apps to refresh in the background. If you're having problems with your iPad or your iPhone freezing up, come in here, it's under General, we've found, General and background app refresh, and just turn them all off. So that just means that they won't refresh in the background. Now, if you've got a weather app or obviously things like maps, you may want to go back in and individually turn those on. But a lot of apps just simply don't need it. They'll just be sitting there in the background, occasionally using processing power and causing you problems and stability issues. So that's sort of tip number 2. And to be honest, turning it off and on is actually a really good tip as well. So you're actually turning your iPad completely off and back on again. That just seems to give it the kick in the guts that can reset things and restart things for you. One more tip on this, and that is, again, in your settings option here, if you go into your iPad storage, just make sure that you've got a truckload of space free. You don't need 400 gigabytes like I have here on my iPad. That's overkill, but at least about 5 to 10 gigabytes, because a lot of that, the background storage and things that are going on and swap files and things will use that up. So if that's anything around 1 or 2 gigabytes or even less, that can really slow down your iPad or iPhone. So go in and check that. And you can, of course, come down here and see, eventually it'll update and it'll show you what apps are using different amounts. And you can go in there and delete out any apps you're not using, remove any data from apps you're not using. And in fact, I've got a video, because of course I do. If you search Pete John's iPad storage, there's some other tips on there about how to reduce your usage. So give all of that a go and let me know how you get on there. But yeah, it's a frustrating thing, but there are some things that you can do that may help you. Hello, Merry Christmas coffee. Yeah. Yes, JP, I'm nothing if not up to date with everything when I'm drinking out of my Christmas mug in what month are we? February? Yeah. I said something about stereo output. Yeah, okay. I'm still blanking on what it was. So yeah. So if you can put the full question here, I will definitely try and answer it. Otherwise, maybe hit me up on the Create, Record, Release group. That's usually what I suggest to folks is if you go over to the Create, Record, Release group on Facebook, that's the best place to ask for sort of support questions. I can try, but I'm only one person, and there's 700 plus people over there, all very knowledgeable, all that do good things. And thank you. Appreciate it, JP. Thank you. But by the way, go check out John Paul Music UK. Does some excellent reviews and tips and tutorials and is an amazing looper. So if you're into your looping, jump over to JP. We'll scroll on down. Yeah, so Strummer by 4 Pockets. There you go. That's what it is. And an effect like Tone Bridge. So you're back to the guitar question. If you use Tone Bridge or if you use any sort of quality amp sim on your virtual guitars, you can instantly make them sound better. And for those that haven't seen my tip, I've got a video called Better Touch Guitar. Again, it's the how to search Pete's videos on YouTube. But if you check out this one, the Better Touch Guitar, because what I show you in that one is how to take the standard guitar sim in GarageBand, how to export it, or how to basically merge it down, pop it onto an amplifier track or any audio track, and then you can add any plugin you like. You can add Amplitude or Bias FX or Nembrini's plugins, Crunk, or Tone Bridge or anything like that. So hopefully that helps out as well. So Mark says, exactly that. Play virtual guitar, merge on an audio track, use Tone Bridge. Absolutely. Rob, so the Yamaha MG10 with USB output, sticking a mic into one of the channels and stick through GB using Apple Connector, how to? Yeah, absolutely. So it's exactly the same as using an audio interface. So iOS interface. So if you search my name, Pete John's iOS interface, this one here is basically exactly how to do that. Now, I should and will do one that's mixer specific. So in fact, let's come over here. I've talked about my my infamous list of ideas, and that's going to go straight on the list of ideas right now. If we can come here, because if I don't do it while I think of it, is anyone else like this? If I don't do it while I think of it, then I'll never remember. So mixer recording GB. All right, I'll do that. But yeah, it's basically the same principle as here, and I know Jade Star's tested it with her Yamaha MG10 mixer. So basically all you need to do is get your USB output and then a Lightning to USB 3 adapter. Now, because the Yamaha is powered, you don't even need to worry about a powered USB hub. So that's the advantage. But you get the genuine Apple Lightning to USB 3 adapter, plug that into your iPhone or iPad, plug your mixer into the USB, and then when you go into GarageBand, what it will do is, now I just need to unplug and plug in because mine's coming through AirPlay for audio right now. But in a moment, I'll show you when you actually set up an audio channel, you just select 1, 2, or stereo. And that's the key thing here. And now the difference when you're using a mixer as opposed to actually using an audio interface is that it will just send the overall signal. So let's say you've got a microphone in 1, a guitar in 2, a keyboard in 3 and 4. If you just send out the stereo signal, it will send all of those channels. Now, all you need to do really is turn all of them down and then just have the one that you want to record. So the beauty of a mixer is you can just drop all the faders on everything else, turn the fader up for the one channel you want to record, and then record it in. Keep in mind, though, that the channels 1 and 2 on a mixer are just left and right. So if you want to record just the full guitar sound, all you really need to do is select channel 1 on your GarageBand interface when you jump in, and then that will be the left channel, and then just pan, whatever you pan to the hard left is going to be what's on there. I'm just going to come over here and see if we can show you. Is this got my correct thing on here now? We're going to see. Yes, all right. So I'll bring this up here. So here's what I'm talking about. I'll have to remove your question. Here's what I'm talking about. Down the bottom here, you'll see we've got channel 1. We've also got channel 2 and we've got stereo. So if you select stereo, that's 1 and 2, that's going to bring you left and right and record stereo in there. If you select channel 1, that's your left channel from a mixer. If you select channel 2, that's your right channel from your mixer. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's exactly the same as an audio interface. The only difference is instead of having channel 1 and 2, 1 will be your left channel and 2 will be your right channel. Now, there are mixers that are hybrid audio interface mixers that may have 8 channels and all 8 can be individually selected. The Yamaha MG series doesn't do that. It's just a standard stereo mixer. So hopefully that helped get you up and running for your Yamaha MG10 mixer. As Sean says, drinking from a Merry Christmas mug in February. I know, a bit wacky. Could a professional song be made with GB? A few famous songs have used GB, but could GB be the future? Yes. I mean, you could say that I'm biased and that my answer is going to be quite obvious and quite predictable. But I've seen so many people create so much good music in GarageBand that it's really only a matter of time before someone uses it. I mean, that's the thing. People have used Logic and Pro Tools and FL Studio and Reaper you don't actually know what's actually under the hood. And that's the key thing here, is that as soon as we went to digital, now that everything is ones and zeros, there's literally no difference because I'm plugged in here. I've got my Steinberg UR22C interface in here. I could plug in whatever interface I wanted into my iPhone or iPad, hit record, and it's recording 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz sound. Now, if I plug the same thing into my Mac and ran Pro Tools, guess what? Recording 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz digital sound. So I think that we're going to find that, well, again, I'm chatting about a lot of these topics, but was chatting with a group including like Joey Helpish and Jade Starr. We were chatting yesterday, Tom Rochelle. We're talking about why it is that mobile music is kind of taking a while to bubble up. And it's really that there is still a little bit of snobbery that goes on. And I think it was Tom that was saying, or Joey might have been, especially in the US, there's still a bit of snobbery around what you should actually use. And if you're not using, a Pro Tools HD rig with a big giant rack mixer, then you're not recording real music. I think we're going to find less and less people care about how music is recorded, and more they just want good quality music, but it's more about the songwriting, it's more about the arranging, it's more about the playing and the feeling that song generates. So, short answer is yes, I think so. Desolate Morning says, why do these streams cost me money, but I still love them? Yeah, I know. Just don't watch Jade Starr's streams at the moment if you don't want to cost money, because those Swarm apps look amazing. She's covering all the Swarm brass apps, but they're, 30 clams each? And I think they're more than that now, aren't they, Jade? I think they've probably gone up in price to the full price, which I'm a little bit scared to look at here, but let's search it out. Let's go Swarm Trumpet, for instance, which is one of them. Yeah, I don't really want to show you this, but see, this is, and again, I was ranting on this one yesterday because the Swarm Trumpet, each of these Swarm instruments, which are very cool, they're now $46.99 here in Australia. So that's a big chunk of change. Spending nearly $50 to get one instrument to add to a song, pretty pricey. I really do think that if who is it? I can't remember the name of the company. But yeah, I really do think that if they price these around the $10 mark, I probably would have already picked up 3 or 4 of them. Because they're priced at the $46 mark, or I think they're $30 in the US, I've picked up 0 of them. So yeah, but yeah, it is expensive times if you want to follow along and buy all the apps and buy the gear. But remember, you can use what you have. If you have a phone or an iPad and you have GarageBand for free, then you can start creating music. Don't wait around until you can afford to buy all the things. Jamstick would be good at making a guitar app, or Rolly. Yeah, and in fact, if you look behind me, you can see I haven't used it for a while. I've got the Instrument One from, I can't even remember the name of the company, but yeah, which is similar to a Jamstick, and that's really cool. Their native app has decent guitar, but it's nothing to write home about. So yeah, I think that's the difference. We just haven't got that amazing guitar sound. Binny says it was a fluke. No, I think you're just a genius, Binny. Jeff says he's used MIDI Strummer and it's pretty good. However, I did have a little trouble when multiple instances on the same song. Every time I go back to the project, it makes me reload the plugins. Yeah, that's a bugger, isn't it? Absolute bugger. Gary says Binny's tip might have helped rescue a song I've got stuck in another auto drummer. Hell, yes, that's definitely the problem with auto drummer, is sometimes you just can't quite customize it the way you want it, and yeah, you need a little help, and get a little help from your friends. We'll scroll on down. So yeah, Jade's had a bunch of battery replacements on your 6S. Yeah, I think I need to just bite the bullet and do it, because I do love the 6S. Question: why does GarageBand freeze in black sometimes when opening it? Good question, my friend. We were talking about you and others that make some awesome metal music yesterday, by the way. Yeah, so why does GarageBand freeze sometimes when opening? So what we're talking about here is sometimes you hit the GarageBand, sometimes I sound so old. Sometimes you'll hit the GarageBand button and nothing will happen. It's a jolly nightmare. So sometimes if we close it completely and reopen, so let's reopen GarageBand, you'll get this screen and then it won't go to there. It'll just sit on that black screen forever. Why does it do it? Usually it's to do with the fact that you've exited out of it, like you're exited GarageBand, but you're still in a project. So the one way that I found to help avoid this is to always exit, always leave GarageBand on this screen. And then the other thing that you can do is to always just close out of GarageBand. So just flick it away, close out, and then open it fresh. Sometimes, especially when GarageBand sits in the background with a project open for a long period of time, that's when you get these issues. So if I just left that open and went away and worked my day and then came back and hit it again, that's when I tend to get that black screen more often than not. Now, there's an easy fix for this one. All you need to do is go into your settings again. You're spending a lot of time and say, whoop, what did I hit? Hit the wrong button. I'm going back into StreamYard. Let's close that. We don't want to go into StreamYard again. Go into your settings and down under GarageBand. So over on the left here, if we scroll down to our apps on the left, these are some handy features over here. Tap GarageBand, come over to the right, scroll on down, you'll notice that there's this button here, Reset GarageBand. So if you tap that one and then reopen GarageBand, it will basically reset all your parameters and it will go back to that welcome screen. Now you won't need to, it won't affect any of your projects, but you will need to come in here, and if you've got note labels or if you've got support MPE controllers, any of these settings that you've put on, you'll need to re-put those on. And the same with some of your advanced settings over here in GarageBand. You'll just need to go in, and the one you really want to make sure you do is come back into advanced and make sure 24-bit audio resolution is back on. And that's a tip for everyone. If you're a GarageBand iOS user, go right now. Grab your phone, grab your iPad, go right now. Don't worry, I'll wait. We'll be here when you get back. Go to it, go to GarageBand, tap your settings, hit advanced, and make sure you've got 24-bit audio resolution. You just might as well. Even if you don't have a 24-bit audio interface, it will just improve things. And then if and when you ever do record audio, you'll get it at 24-bit quality. The bit rate just means the quality. It's not really quality. It's more to do with the bandwidth that you're getting in there, the dynamic range, the quiets and the louds. 24-bit's just going to do that better than 16-bit. 16-bit's still good. That's CD quality after all. But 24-bit, if you've got it, why wouldn't you use it? Absolutely. Alrighty, we'll continue on here, but thank you for the question. JP said he spoke to Apple support over the phone and they did a diagnostic while at home and could even take over my screen. Yeah, it's a little bit scary, isn't it, when you do talk to Apple support and they're like, oh yeah, give me these numbers and make sure you're on Wi-Fi, and then you like tap this weird accept button and then suddenly they're in your phone. And they're telling you things. They're like, oh, yeah, we can see that your battery is functioning at this percentage, and then it gets down to this charge rate. And it's like, whoa, you can do that remotely. That's scarifying. We'll keep on going. And there you go. Jade's got Apple's current prices for iPhone 6 is $79. So this is why Jade answers questions better than me, because she actually does the research. I'm just like, that's probably too hard. That's going to cost a fortune. It is. And she's like, no. Pete, have a look at Moft Float, amazing iPad stand. I just got literally floats above my music keyboard nicely. Moft Float. This sounds interesting. Speaking of costing, see now JP's costing us money. It would be I wonder if that comes in the 12-inch, because I've got my my Magic keyboard, which kind of floats here, and I'm kind of stuck with that, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, I do need ones for my 12-inch iPad Pro. I've got an older 12-inch iPad Pro I use, and it'll be handy actually, because I use it for lyrics and I use it for like chords when I'm playing songs. So JP may have cost me some cash here. Moft. This looks pretty interesting. So the Moft Float Invisible. Oh, it's a Kickstarter. Okay. So it's actually available, is it, JP? Looks pretty cool, though. Invisible Floating Unlimited Angles. So it's kind of like a similar pre-order from... So it's an Indiegogo thing. I wonder if it's actually out now. They've raised $500K. The only floating case for iPad Pro. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's for the Pro. Wondering if it works on an older model. I will have to investigate that because it looks kind of cool. And it would be good, like you say, for over a keyboard, music keyboard, or even your typing keyboard, you could just sort of have it sitting there underneath. There you go. You can now blame JP for costing you even more money. Scrolling down, once again, if you do have a question, just throw the word question. Hello to Kev Hart. Hello, Jessica Jan. Russ is here in the chat. Who else haven't I said g'day to? Mark needs coffee. Yeah, I have my Merry Christmas coffee. Look at that. It was my special Create, Record, Release Christmas edition mugs that I made. I didn't. My daughter designed this one. Very, very cool. Rob B, got the adapter. You're set, Rob. If you got the adapter, this is your question about the Yamaha mixer. If you got the adapter and you plug in via USB, then you're good to go. I've got my Samsung mix pad, which at the moment is plugged into my piece to my Mac, which is why I haven't done a video on this, because it's kind of, when you've got things set just right, don't want to mess with it. So, but maybe I'll take one for the team and unplug it from here, plug it into my iPad, and just show you how it all works. But it's really quite simple. Once you do it, plugging your mixer into your iPhone or iPad via the Lightning to USB 3 adapter, it'll just show up. It'll show up as a USB device, and then you just select channel 1 or 2, hit record, and you're on your way. That's what, in theory, anyway. Yes, Gary Hub says I spend hours a year looking at Google asking what I was going to search, right? I hear you. I'm right there with you. Trevor McGowan says, hi Pete, if I record a guitar track and a vocal track on my iPad, can I send it to my mate in England and get him to put on guitar track? He's using Logic Pro. Trevor in Sweden. Great question, Trevor. And I had this question yesterday, and I think I need to do a bit of a revised video on this one. But for the time being, what you can do is if you type Pete Johns stems, what you're looking to do here is actually export stems. So don't go the first video. YouTube does this all the time. The older, less relevant video is at the top here. And yes, I could unlist it, I know that. But the newer video, this is the one I'd go to. So how to export individual tracks in GarageBand. What you basically need to do, in fact, I can show you because I have my iPad sitting right here. Here's one I prepared earlier. So let's just say, actually, we'll come out of that one because that's not a good indication. We'll come here to a completed song that actually has some guitars in there. So say I wanted to share the guitar track for my song Goats here. So say I've got this guitar track and maybe this guitar track, and I wanted to share these two. I wanted to send them to a buddy that was using a different system they weren't using. Now, the one thing I will say, actually, if you're using Logic Pro, you can actually do a shortcut on this, which is you can actually open a GarageBand iOS project in Logic Pro. So instead of doing the method I'm about to show you, if it's Logic, what you can actually do, I'm just going to try and get back to my screen there. If it's Logic, you can actually just export it. So if you just go to the video here about sharing, all you need to do is export the project file and then send it to them either through iCloud or zip it up and send it across. And if they open the project, keep in mind though that once they open it in Logic, it's Logic project. It's not going to then be recompatible. It then won't be compatible with iOS after that, so you can't do it. But what I was showing you with the stems here is that all I need to do is say with this one is that we need to solo it and then come back out here and then share this, but share it just as, so we tap there, we tap that, share it as a WAV file. So we'd export this as a song, as an uncompressed WAV file, 44.1 kilohertz, 24-bit, yes, and hit share, and then that will go away and share it. We can save that and then email a link or upload it to Dropbox or Google Drive or wherever we want to go. And then just repeat that process for any other track. So then you want to send this track, you do the same with that track. You go there, you export it track by track. So if someone's using Pro Tools or something that's completely outside the Apple universe, you can do it that way. If they're not, they're using GarageBand or Logic, but just on a Mac, all you need to do is come out here and then actually share this project. So tap it, share, this time instead of song, share project, and then actually send them that project file either via iCloud or zip it up and send it on another platform. So hopefully that helps you out. But yeah, it's a really good, really easy thing to do once you get the hang of it. But yeah, getting the hang of it can be a little tricky at first. So hopefully that helps you and anyone else who's looking to share with other folks. Question from Damien. When using an audio interface, are there other things you can connect it to mobile? Let me just read that again. When using an audio interface, are there other things you can connect? What are there other things? Yeah, you can connect to it mobile. Yes. If I understand your question correctly, if you're using a powered USB hub, then yeah. So what you can connect to an audio interface is whatever you can plug in. So if your audio interface has a microphone input or a guitar input or a stereo line input, you can plug in whatever and different audio interfaces will have different numbers of inputs and different types of inputs, whether they're like 3.5mm jacks or TRS jacks, 1/4 inch XLR. If you can then, if you're using a powered USB hub, you can plug in a bunch of other gear. So again, if you go to the Googles, and you type in Pete Johns multiple USB, check out this video. So multiple USB devices, how to connect multiple USB devices to an iPhone or an iPad. So this will actually show you, you can see even there in the preview, I've clicked it. That's right. It's very quick. It's only a 6-minute video, but it shows you how to do all the different things. There's timestamps down here in the description. Where do they put the description these days? There you go. Timestamps here. So I show you, for instance, I show you what you can connect and what you can't, how to power it up, how to connect a keyboard or a mouse, a USB flash drive, USB sound card, USB microphone, audio interface, and a MIDI keyboard. So for my typical recording setup, when I'm recording something, I'll have an audio interface plugged in, I'll have a mouse and a keyboard for my iPad or iPhone, and I'll have a MIDI keyboard as well, and sometimes I'll even have a USB drive if I'm saving things out. So it's really handy, and again, if you get yourself a powered USB hub, like the 10 DAC one that I recommend, and we've gone how long, and I haven't actually mentioned this, but if you are looking for any of the gear that I mentioned here, that's where you need to go. StudioLiveToday.com/gear will drop you over to my gear guide. I'll just show you really quickly how to use it. StudioLiveToday.com/gear. Very straightforward. These are affiliate links, which means that if you make a payment from these links, they will break off a small chunk and send it my way. So if you take a look here, we've got Amazon, Sweetwater, eBay, and Thomann up the top there. But here's my current setup. Needs to be updated because this is December 2020 and we're now in February. I'm 2 months behind. But here's all the different audio interfaces, mixers, headphones, microphones, all the gear that I have here in the home studio that I'm currently using. And then I've got recommendations on other gear as well that I've used in the past or that other people have recommended to me that is high quality stuff. So if you're ever in the market for any of the gear that you see me mention here on the show, don't, as I always say, don't go out and buy the gear just for gear's sake. But if you're buying gear anyway, then that will be a good way for you to know what I'm using. And if you want to use the same gear, then you can do that. But thank you for the question there, Damien. I'm getting it behind. So Rob's got it now. Excellent. That's what you replied about the stereo, but I didn't understand. Yeah, so it's just when you get your head around the whole how the left-right works with a mixer versus an interface, then you'll be gold. G'day, Russ. Russ says, should you connect a guitar in mono when importing a 2-channel file? Should you convert it to mono? Yeah, so it depends, Russ. So if you're getting a guitar, so someone sends you a guitar and you're importing it, say into GarageBand or into anything else, if it's a stereo file, if it's got stereo processing on it, then you can import it as a stereo file. If it's a pure mono track, but something like GarageBand makes it stereo anyway, then yeah, converting it to mono can help if you definitely want to just put it in as a mono file. So you can take your pick, trial and error, Russ, depending on how the guitar's been processed and what's being used to process the sound. If it's got some stereo delay or stereo reverb or something on there, you may want to leave it as a stereo track. If you do want to convert it, the best way, in my experience, to convert audio files is to use Audio Share, which is a badly named app. It should be called Audio Everything or Audio Processor, because Audio Share is really good for sharing audio files and for managing your audio files, but also managing your video files and any other files you have. But it actually has a really good converter in here. So if I, for instance, grab this Murdering Time song, let's pretend this was the guitar part you wanted. All you need to do is go Tools and then Convert. And then you can choose to convert it here. So all you need to do is go channel stereo to mono, and then the mix source, you can be left or right or the overall mix. Now this is super handy because this will help you. I was talking the other day about using an audio interface. If you record on the left or the right channel, sometimes you'll get a stereo file with all the audio on the left or the right. If you get that problem, come in here and do the channels, do mono, and then the mono source, if everything's on the left, choose left. And what that'll do is it'll grab it from the left and it'll fill it across to the right. It'll make it mono, and it'll mean that the same thing is on the left and the right. So that's an easy way to do that. If you've got a stereo file that you want to make mono, just tap the mix button there. That'll bring both stereo channels in and put the same thing on the left and the right. And just with your format, make sure you leave that as wave if you want the best quality on that. And 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. That's your standard iOS file formats there. This is also good if you, say, get a 32-bit WAV file that won't let you import it into GarageBand, or if you've got something at a higher sampling rate, you can actually downsample it here using Audio Share. So for, I think it's $4, Audio Share is an absolute Swiss Army knife of audio goodness, so I highly recommend it. But thanks for your question, Russ. Hopefully it helps. And that is all right, Sean. I did ignore your the second version of your question there. We'll scroll down and we'll see. Orchestra Eclipse said just downloaded a new string pack for GarageBand. Using it for my cover tomorrow. Excellent. Very cool. Benny Sandu has a question here. Says, I'm still confused about some of the virtual instruments. Is the sound we record mono or stereo? And if mono, why does it show 2 bars in the volume slider? Here's the thing. Yeah, it's very confusing. GarageBand, if you think about it this way, GarageBand just simply doesn't let you have a mono track. Even if you've got mono audio, GarageBand is stereo for reasons that who knows. But just the way it was designed is to always be in stereo. So if we came in here and we go back into that track we were looking at here, so you're right. So if we play an individual track here, so this guitar track, for instance, and we solo it there, we can play it. Now that is stereo because you can see that it's doing, like the 2 waveforms are doing something different. If this was just a mono track, and I don't think I have any in here, not a mono, maybe the bass is this the bass? No, I think that's another guitar. Oh no, there's your bass. Yeah, so you can see there, it's a mono sound, but as Benny's saying, both of those are just doing the same thing. So there's no stereo processing on here whatsoever. But unlike every other DAW in the universe, instead of GarageBand letting you say, this is mono, just make it mono, it will leave it as stereo. So yeah, why? I don't know why it does that, probably just for simplicity and because all the effects that you can do here are actually, can actually be stereo. So I think it leaves it as stereo so that when you come in here and you add like, you add some track echo, this will actually create a stereo echo effect. And then, you know, if we make this really wet, it should show it. No, not so much. But it basically just leaves it as that. Let's remove that. Leaves it as stereo so that if you do want to put something in stereo, you can. So hopefully that just helps you out. But yeah, it's not something that's super intuitive. And yeah, I do wish that you could just say, it's mono, please just leave it as mono. Just hit 600 subs. Congratulations. That's very cool. Well done. Are you aware of an economical version of Word Builder that's compatible? Well, Word Builder? I'm not sure what Word Builder is that's compatible with GB. I'm not sure. I might need more information. I'm not familiar with Word Builder or whatever it is. How do you feel about Flip Sampler? Pros and cons against GB Sampler. I've never actually tried Flip Sampler, so my opinion is nothing at this point in time. I'm assuming it's an AUV3. Let's come in here and check it out. Flip Sampler. Okay, so yeah, it's Flip Sampler. Make music everywhere. So if we come over here, this is it. It's what is it? $15 to buy here in Australia, which means it'll be a $10 app. Yeah, you'll probably have to tell me if it's cool and if it's worth checking out. The Real Studios, then let me know. But no, I have zero experience with it. So yeah, let me know if it's something cool that I should check out. Then I'll add it to the list, the ever-growing list. How do you achieve better volume for tracks? I end up needing to correct it in Final Cut Pro before I upload it. It all comes down to mastering at the end of the day, my friend. So and I talked about this as well in a recent video and with some folks yesterday as well. The one thing about GarageBand that I see people do wrong, I'll call it wrong, but that causes issues, is they actually have their tracks up too loud. And they're trying to get more volume. So what they're doing is turning up. Oh, see, I've lost it. I came back in here. I'm pushing my my devices to the max. Well, just while we wait for this to come back up, they want more volume, so you tend to push your volumes up and make it extreme. What that actually does, though, is it puts you over 0 dB. When you then export it, GarageBand will actually grab all your tracks and limit them. So it does auto normalization, or in the case of when you go over 0 dB, it'll automatically limit your volume to 0 dB. So, for instance, if we come over to here, let's just go back to, where was that drummer track that I created for my last tutorial? We'll see if it's here. We'll use this one. This Experiment in G. I think this has some pretty loud stuff. If we come down here and we hit the button and play. Okay, so this is a bad example because everything is actually sitting nicely around there. So when you've got your GarageBand project and you're playing it, everything should kind of be sitting right there around the middle, between 50 and 75%. If you're hitting the top end of this all the time, so if you're going bang, bang, bang up against the top wall, it means everything's too loud. You've got a couple of options there. You can turn them down on the individual faders, or you can use the FX trick, which I've showed before, where we just record in a little FX. We're not going to use that FX, but just for the sake of this, we then delete out that FX, and then we use this FX track as a volume knob. So you can just grab your volume knob here and turn it up or turn it down. So that's probably the quickest and easiest way if you're trying to get more or less volume, but don't consider that just turning up is going to get you better volume. What you really want to do is export at a nice level volume, so a volume that gives you some dynamic range, and then use some mastering. So either mastering directly here in GarageBand or mastering using something like Final Touch or Final Cut Pro or whatever you're using to increase your volume. But that's probably the key thing. If you go and search mastering, and in fact, if you want to learn more about GarageBand and you're newer to, I know you're not new to GarageBand, but if you're new or even an intermediate or advanced user, I do have my GarageBand course, which you can check out as well. So that's at studiolivetoday.com/courses, this one here. And for $10, you can pick up the GarageBand iOS Beginner's Guide. That has a heap about mixing volumes, getting your volumes and your levels correct, and also mastering. I'll show you how to master for free right in GarageBand using the built-in limiter. It's actually pretty cool. Those videos, though, are available here on the channel. So if you just go to YouTube and search Pete Johns Mastering, you're going to get a bunch of cool, or hopefully cool, you're going to get a bunch of videos that will hopefully help you out. I've done the thing where it's gone. All right, I think we can find where we were up to in just a moment. Yep, there we were. If I do miss a question here, we've got 15 minutes left, so I'm probably going to miss some folks, and if I do, I apologize. Music Hit says, are there any new albums since Selfish Aware? Really enjoyed that album from Denmark. Well, thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. So I haven't done another album since there. I've had 2 other releases since then. So I released an EP called Maybe, which was in 2019. And then I had an EP called Own Battle last year. Actually, were they both last year? I should know more about my own music, shouldn't I? If you go to petejohns.com, you will go to my song whip page here. So you can come in here and check out all of the stuff. So if you wanted to see what I have, if we just click the Spotify link, this should open me up in Spotify. And whatever you're using, plus my new single there, Murdering Time. But you can see here, there you go. They were 2020. So they were both in 2020. So we had... right back in 2018, which you can't even see on the first page there. I've had a few more singles since then, and then the EP Maybe and the EP Own Battle. So check that. And a couple more singles since then as well. Oh, there it is, Selfish Aware. And Murdering Time, which is my latest release single. And I think Jade Star's drummed on about 80% of those. So thank you, Jade, as always, for your support. Hello, Mark Guest Guitar. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So John Paul said he got the Kickstarter and it came a few weeks ago, working on my 20.9 2018 iPad Pro. Sorry for costing you money. Yes, it worked. So that's the, I've forgotten the name of it. That's all right. You won't cost me money because I've forgotten the name of it now, JP. But it looks very cool. I'll answer Jeff's question after a little coffee. Question for Pete and the guitar folks. The Roland Cube, that one there. Looks nice. Any acoustic amps you guys recommend or suggest to stay away from? I can only give you my experience, which was in all the research I did. The Roland Cube seemed to just be the perfect balance of quality and value, as well as having AA batteries, which means that you can just swap them out. You don't have a lithium-ion battery to go bad over time. That's going to cost you hundreds of dollars to replace. It has all the inputs and outputs that you need or that I needed. So you have stereo line in, stereo line out. You've got foot switch control. You've got the 50-watt speaker. You've got the ability, 4 separate channels to actually control separate EQ, separate reverb on it, both of them. It was just the perfect balance for me. Now, Roland made the Roland Street and the Street EX. I got the EX. The only real difference is you get 2 additional channels. So you get stereo input if you're using a keyboard and stuff, and you get stereo output, which was important to me because I use it for, I want to use it for playing out. Excuse me, and busking and the like. So that's going to be, live streaming, so I can send my audio out. So hopefully that helped you. A question from Jolith Love. Hello, Pete. I do not have a musical background, would like to create a song. Where do I begin using your YouTube tutorials? I am glad you asked. There's 2 ways. If you've got $10 laying around, you can buy the course that we talked about before, studiolivetoday.com/courses. Or if you want to just get started and dig your way around, what I would suggest is if you search Pete John's GarageBand Essentials, that will take you to my 25 essential GarageBand videos. So this one here, GarageBand iOS Essentials, 25 videos in there, and this covers everything about GarageBand. So it'll start you there at the start, and then down the side here, it'll talk to you about, the gear, the mixing, some of the bugs, some of the things to avoid, and how to get started. That's one way. The other way is
if you own an iPhone or an iPad,
go away, Mr. Man. The other thing is I also have the GarageBand Quick Jams. If you've only got like a couple of minutes a day and you just want to learn something new, this is a pretty cool way to do it. So there's 76 videos in this. Again, just search Pete John's GarageBand Quick Jams. 76 videos, and they're all about between 2 and 5 minutes. So the first one in here, if we come in here, is all about the keyboard.
Hey, Pete here for Studio.
Yep, I did long intros. It's a 2-minute video and I spend 10 seconds telling you who I am and what I'm doing. But these just go through all the basics of the keyboard, and then we go on from there. You've got metronome, drums, guitar, bass guitar, strings, synth, sampler, etc. So 76 videos, and you can just watch 1 or 2 a day, learn something new, implement it, and then in no time you will know everything you need to know about how to create music in GarageBand, which is my recommended place. Damien says, what is the best audio interface? My iRig is glitching. It's doing things like random calling Siri and it's not picking up my guitar. Yeah, so that's very common with the early iRigs and anything that uses the 3.5mm jack like this. Over time, the one thing you can do is try and clean out the jack. So get a toothpick and actually clean out your 3.5mm jack, because sometimes there's just some gunk in there, especially if you're using a phone and you wear jeans. You'll be surprised at how many little balls of fluff get in there over time. So clean out your jack, and that may make the connection better, because these things, the connections get really dodgy over time. So that's tip number 1. But yeah, I would upgrade to something that actually uses your Lightning connector instead of that. So the iRig Pro IO is a good option. I've been using that one for a while. But yeah, anything that goes in via Lightning. If you want to go with the full kit and caboodle, then go with like a Steinberg UR series, Focusrite Scarlett, Presonus. Make some decent 2-channel interfaces. Really, any 2-channel interface around the $100 mark, you can't go wrong. I recommend the Steinberg just because they have that separate power option that means you can power them up from a portable battery if you don't have a powered USB hub or if you're on the go. So that will be my recommendation. So if you go over to the gear guide at studiolivetoday.com/gear, you can check all of those out. Yes, and as JP has corrected me here, that yeah, as I was saying, you can export stems, but if they are using GarageBand or Logic on a Mac, then you can just export your iOS project, and then your friend can go and record it. And if they want to, they can then just send their track back to you as a WAV file and bring it back into your GarageBand project. Very good. Good stuff. It's good to have folks like JP here as well, along with Jade and along with Tom and along with all the other folks that help provide and help answer the questions, because, I'm just one person and I can't answer everything. Question from Mark. I have a question. It's a GarageBand one, if that's okay. I just recorded a cover of Hammer to Fall by Queen. Very cool. I recorded the whole song, but I just want to cut the solo section. Can this be done? I have many tracks. Yeah, it can be done. To be honest, it's probably easier to get the WAV file, like export the WAV file and then actually cut that, because what you're going to end up having to do, let's just jump over here, is it depends on a couple of things. If your song's in sections, it might be easier because so if it's like this, you may be able to just like remove everything before that. So select and drag, so duplicate your project first, drag that out, tap on this, tap it again, delete it, and then just move everything across. It might be easier to actually just export the whole WAV file into Audio Share and then use that to trim it. So that's sort of a couple of ways to do. Let's go to another project where it might be more relevant. So if we go back into, I thought I was in one that had it. We'll go back to my completed tracks. So if we go to this song, so say we were here, and say I only wanted this section here where I had a guitar solo. So between here and here was my guitar solo. Yeah, it's going to be pretty fiddly because I'm going to have to come in here and delete out all this stuff. So drag it across, delete all those bits there that I have, and then move the rest of the track over to the left, remove all the bits from the end, and then re-export it. What I'm saying is I would probably just export the whole song open it up in audio share. So come over here to audio share and open it here, and then use your trim feature. So your trim and fade here in audio share just lets you select one part of the song. So if you can line it right up, it obviously won't be as precise, but you can see if you tap and hold, you can actually go into zoom mode. So then you can line it up to the very point that you want it to be, and then it'll be right at that point. And then when you actually trim it, it'll be there. So there's two ways to do it. Neither are super simple in GarageBand to just sort of take a chunk out of there. But yeah, if you've got things in sections like we showed before, where are we? Here. Then yeah, you can just delete out anything from the front. And obviously, if you haven't split it into sections, you can just go to the point where your solo starts, tap on split, and then split it there. And you just have to go through and in each section, split it in that exact same spot. And then you'll be able to delete out anything before there and then just leave what's after. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, if you are struggling with it, or if you want some more advice, I'd jump over to the GarageBand users Facebook group. There's lots of very cool people over there that would almost certainly want to help you out. All right. Scroll on down. Hello, Dean Thomas, who's snuck in here. Hello, Bubba, who's here as well. Deep Gravity, good morning to you and to everyone. We are coming towards the end of the show. We've got 5 minutes left. I'm positive that I'm not going to get to all your questions, but here's the good news. If you do have a question that I don't get to today, just drop it in the comments after the show, and I will return. I try to answer, if not all, most questions that I get, and most comments that are here on the channel. So if you do have follow-up questions, then do throw them in the comments here. I also do a home studio Q&A show for anyone new to the channel, and that happens every weekend on Saturday afternoons and evenings, depending where you are in the world. So if you do have questions, what you can do is jump over to my question form, which is at studiolivetoday.com/QA. So just studiolivetoday.com/QA, and you can submit your question there, and then we go through those in order in the Q&A show on the weekend. So a couple of options for you there. All right. Question, is the Samson G-Track any good? Thinking of getting a used one to quicken up the getting ideas recorded easily. Thanks for the first answer. I'm new to the door world and loving your videos. Well, thank you. And yes. So short answer here is yes. I haven't used one though. But people that I trust, such as Mr. Patrick Baird at the GarageBand Guide, has absolutely checked it out. And I trust Patrick because he knows his stuff. So if you come over here, check out that video. Just search GarageBand Guide Samson G-Track. Patrick will tell you everything you need to know about it. The short answer is yes, it is a good device, but it's kind of limited. So keep in mind that once you get this, that's kind of your microphone and your audio interface. So you're plugging your guitar into your microphone. It's hard to upgrade that. So if you want a quick and easy way to get good quality, because it's still 24-bit audio, it's still good quality, it's got a decent microphone on there. Samson make good stuff. I'm using a Samson mixer right now to talk to you. So they make good stuff, but the upgradability is not going to be there. So would I get one? Yeah, if I was starting out. Would I prefer a separate audio interface and something like an Audio-Technica AT2020 instead? Yeah, probably. So if I had $100 and I just wanted a quick and easy setup that I can take with me and just plug and play, this is actually a pretty darn good option. So yeah, jump over to Patrick at the GarageBand Guide, and he will not lead you astray. Mark says, I forgot to add, I'm using GarageBand on the iPad at the moment. At the moment, the solo starts at bar 49. I've deleted everything before it, but want to move the solo. Yeah. So in that case, Mark, what you'd need to do is just grab all your stuff. So we'll come over here. Might have to make this our last question. So if you were doing something like that, so say you deleted all these. So say I wanted to bring all these, and instead of being here at bar 9, I wanted them all to be at bar 1. All you need to do is grab everything like this, do a big lasso loop over them, like every track, and then look what happens. If I grab these now and drag, they all shimmy across. So they'll all go over to track 1. So that's all you need to do to finish off that process, Mark. Delete everything in front, grab all of your tracks, just make sure that they're all selected and highlighted, and then drag across, and you'll be good to go. I'll undo that because I'll confuse myself the next time I look at that. So hopefully that helps you out. Alrighty, so I know I'm way behind, and I know there's a heap more questions in here, so I apologize. Every time I do a 1 hour version of these, I'm like, I need to do 2 hours next time. So I will be back to do that. There's a couple of other things that you can do if you do have questions in the meantime or you want to get in touch. You can go over to the Create, Record, Release Facebook group. That's where I hang out along with 700 plus amazing, smart, creative folks. So if you've got questions, I would recommend that. If you're not a Facebook person but you want more direct access, then there's a couple of ways. You can, of course, purchase the course I've been talking about if you're a GarageBand user, studiolivetoday.com/courses, or you can become a Patreon or patron over at patreon.com/Pete John. So basically, whenever I get up first thing in the morning, that's the inbox I check first. So if you're a Patreon, if you've got questions and you're like, I can't get hold of Pete to ask him this one burning question, hey, yeah, I know it's a big commitment, but if you join the Patreon community, you'll be with a bunch of folks who are, again, really enthusiastic, will help you out, and will help you do what you need to do. So yes, once again, I apologize that we haven't been able to get to all of your questions, but yeah, please, if you do have other ones, drop them in the comments below, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Up next in the Studio Live today, how to app, create, record, release universe. We have how to app on iOS, and Jay's looking at NDI-HS camera and capture. So if you're trying to do some video and audio stuff with your iPhone or your iPad, and you're finding that you can't get your things talking to your other things, and you want some options, check out Jade's video today. It's going to be super duper interesting. Once again, got more questions, drop them down in the comments, or head over to the question form for our future show, which is at studiolivetoday.com/QA. Thanks everyone for being here. As we say at the end of every show, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and keep creating. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.